So again, welcome to Veteran Insights, Identifying Your Transferable Skills. Just to make sure if everyone can hear me right now, can you just say yes or no in the chat box? Perfect. Wonderful, great. So today we'll get started on, again, identifying your transferable skills. So just a little background on myself. I was in the United States Navy as a storekeeper. So if you guys can just write in the chat box, what branch of the service were you in and what was your rate, just to help us today. If you were in the military at all. If not, that's totally fine. Okay, all right, that's fine. So today we're going to talk about what are transferable skills, how to identify them, and goals to develop them. So many people who want to change careers can buy into this myth that it might be nearly impossible to change sectors when you don't have direct experience. And it's easy to assume that when competition is tough, recruiters are going to maybe default hire into people with the most relevant experience. But employers are looking for individuals with more of a wider skill set who can work across a number of areas. So that's what's going to tie into our presentation today, is identifying that wider skill set, those soft skills that you have in your past experience. And just a great fact is most people will have at least 3 different careers during their working life. And many of the skills that we use in one or all of those will be transferable. So just kind of think about that when you look at your past experience and where you're trying to go in the future. So transferable skills are fundamental skills that can be applied from industry to industry. They are versatile skills. They also assimilate from one job to another. And they're also skills and abilities that are acquired during any activity in life. So volunteer experiences, educational experiences, any of your past work experience. So all of those have skills that are transferable. So transferable skills incorporate into various combinations of data, people, and things skills, they call them. So examples of transferable skills include communication, planning, organizing, managing, analyzing, problem solving, and the list kind of goes on and on. So if you take the time to identify your transferable skills, you can convince employers that you have those core skills necessary to excel in any career path that you choose. So again, some questions that you want to ask yourself are, what is relevant to this new industry that I'm looking into, and what experience do I have to bring into it? And what are my qualifications? What educational background or volunteer experience do I have that I can translate? And what about your volunteer experience? What do you have to offer and market in that experience as well? So start thinking again about what are some examples of transferable skills from your past experiences. So I just wanted to kind of go between the difference of soft skills, which are our transferable skills, and hard skills, because oftentimes they can get confused. Hard skills are teachable abilities or skill sets that are easy to quantify. So some of the examples that I had provided are foreign language degrees, language proficiencies, degree programs. So if you're in the master's, undergraduate, or certificate program here at NYU. I also put in there machine operation and computer programming. So those are all skills that employers can teach you or that you have going into these positions. So soft skills, on the other hand, are subjective skills, and they're much harder to quantify as they reflect how you interact with others, how you organize time, or even how you manage projects and tasks. So the examples that I've included are teamwork, communication, time management, leadership, strategic planning. So all of these skills, you don't teach them, employers don't teach them to students, or they don't teach them to their employees. You come in with these skills. So these are very highly desirable traits. So while certain hard skills are necessary for any positions, again, employers are increasingly looking for applicants with particular soft skills. And this is because it's easy for an employer to train a new employee in a particular hard skill, such as how to use a computer program or how to operate a machine. But it's more difficult to train an employee in a soft skill such as patience, communication, leadership. So please let me know if there's any questions that you guys have along the way. Just please write it in the chat box, and I'm more than happy to stop and answer any questions about any of this. So this site's called Top Transferable Skills. And where this information was taken from is it's based off of a survey conducted last year by the National Association of Colleges and Employers, and it's called NACE. NACE is the leading source of information on the employment of the college educated and forecasts hiring and trends in the job market. It tracks starting salaries, recruiting and hiring practices, student attitudes and outcomes, and also identifies best practices and benchmarks. So this is something that a lot of universities will identify their best practices based on. So we took this information, and NACE last year asked employers, what are the top transferable skills employers are looking for? And here's what they came up with. So I'll give you about a minute to just kind of scroll over and read the information, and then we'll go into a little more detail about some of this information. So if you're reading through these bullets, you'll see it's interesting to note that communication skills and teamwork rank high on the list, as well as they've kind of ranked high on the list year to year, I apologize. But also analyzing data, planning and organizing, decision making and problem solving. So looking at this information, thinking about how I can translate my experience into these transferable skills and highlight this on my resume, on my cover letter, in my pitch, in my interview. So that's what all this information is going to be used for. So think about in your past experiences, how can you talk about a time when you collaborated with a team, or were you a team leader? So also additionally, how you can find out more information about what transferable skills are important to the industry or job you're looking for, which we'll go into more detail later, is looking at the job description, company website, LinkedIn keywords, Twitter. So doing research about these organizations and industries and identifying what transferable skills they're looking for to then go back and highlight in your experience as well. So this is for military veterans that are joining us today. So if none of you are military, that's fine. Transferable skills are used, like we said, across all industries. But these websites are provided to translate military experience into civilian skill sets. So we're going to go through each one of these websites that'll help translate and bring relevant skills from the past experiences. So military.com is Veteran Employment Center, and it provides job search opportunities, skills translator, resume builder, veteran career network, job fairs. So if you go to veteran jobs and then select skills translator, you can put in what position you held in the service. So I put in storekeeper because I was in the Navy as a storekeeper. So my job required a lot of supply. So I want to know what civilian skills it's telling me are relevant to my position now that I can translate on my resume to bring out to the civilian world. So it comes up as accounts payable, budget management, claims processing. So all these things now, I take these skills and it's how am I going to expand upon them and how am I going to bring up the relevant experience that I did in my past to now use in this new career field. So it gives you the opportunity again to select what branch you're in, what rate you had, what rank you were. So if some held higher leadership positions and other held more junior positions, it'll again increase your skill set. It also provides you with opportunities for subspecialties and training. So if you did collateral duties such as drug and alcohol coordinator, urinalysis coordinator, then additional civilian skills will come up as well. And what you could do with this information, again, is it'll go to the bottom, it'll have you select and give you different occupations that are similar to your military experience. And all you're doing is using this information to see what the job experience, what the job requirements are looking for, and how you can highlight that in your resume. If you're looking to go into the similar industry, that's great because you're now highlighting relevant experience and it directly ties over. So that's military.com. So ONET Online has a crosswalk section that could be used specifically for military veterans, again, asking for your rate, rank, and branch. But there's other opportunities under Find Occupations where you can have a tab that will come up to say you can browse inventory, you can browse career clusters, as well as Job Zone. So I don't have this highlighted here right now, but if you go to the Find Occupations tab, and you select, say, Browse by Industry, it'll provide you with sample occupations and projected growth of that occupation. So that's a really good information so that you can see if the projected growth for this position is high or low, what are some sample skill sets that you can identify in your resume and in your cover letter, and what skill gaps you may have if you're looking for your new career path that you need to highlight. So there's also another tab under there that says Career Cluster, which I apologize is not highlighted here, but it contains occupations in the same field that require similar skills. The other one is Job Zone, and this groups occupations into categories from 1 to 5 based on your level of education, experience, and training. So it'll say some preparation needed or extensive preparation needed. And again, all of these resources under Find Occupations, Advanced Search, and the Crosswalks tab provide you with the opportunity to evaluate what skills you have from your previous work experience and what skills you need for future career paths. So again, this is a great resource, and I highly recommend, if you haven't used ONET, which is Occupational Information Network, that you take a look at that. And you can kind of see here, it gives you a sample of reported job titles, the tasks, tools, and technology, knowledge, skills, abilities, detailed work activities. So it really breaks it down to help you identify what you did in your past, how you can bring that out in your resume and cover letter, and how you can translate those skills. And again, the whole time you're thinking of what transferable skills can I bring to my new career path. So are there any questions so far? Anything? Nope. Okay. All right, so the last one is the Department of Veteran Affairs Employment Center. So this is another great resource to translate, again, what you did in your military career to the civilian workforce. This site is different from the other ones in terms of it focuses on federal employment versus civilian employment. So it's going to translate your military experience based on your branch of service, your rank, and your occupation, and give you a list of transferable skills and soft skills that you did in the military. And then underneath, it's going to give you related federal career paths. So this is good for individuals who are interested in federal employment after graduation, to really see if you want to continue on in the government sector, what are opportunities that maybe relate to your career path, or what are some skills you need to develop to go on to this new career path. This also has, again, a job board and a resume builder as well. Okay, so when we're thinking about transferable skills, we want to identify how do you identify transferable skills in a job description? And then once you do that, it's how do you identify those relevant transferable skills in my experience? So I know this is a lot of text, but this is a job description. I'm going to give everyone about 2 or 3 minutes to read over it, and I want you to think about what transferable skills are in this job description, because after this I'm going to provide you with a resume, and then we'll reference which ones are relevant that we should highlight in the resume. So I'll give you about 2 or 3 minutes, and you can just say yes or yes when you're done in the chat box. Okay, so it looks like everyone's starting to finish up. So in the chat box, if you can just tell me what you think is a transferable skill that this employer is looking for. Just some examples. They're highlighted directly in the resume, so I just want to get some responses before I give you the answers. Okay, we have project management, analytical skills, communication skills. So perfect. You guys are right on track. So some of the key skills identified in here you have are detail-oriented and results focused. That's a soft skill. They talk a lot about multitasking, analytical skills, communication, and also being creative, right? So those are all soft skills. So now we're going to look at the resume. This is Joe Smith, and we're going to identify what transferable skills Joe Smith has that he could use to apply for that position we just looked at. So I'll just give you guys about a minute to look over the resume, and we'll talk about what transferable skills he has. So again, when everyone's done reading in the chat box, if you could just tell me what skills do you think Joe has that are transferable for this assistant manager role that we just viewed. Good, so we have team management, social media and communications. Great. You guys are right on track. So some other skills you want to think about. If you look at if you look at Joe's work experience, is maybe he has some writing and editing skills. So those are transferable soft skills. We talk a lot about he's serving as the appropriate spokesperson. So again, communication skills, public speaking. I talk about writing and editing in terms of, is he writing his speeches? Is he writing content for social media communications? So that's something we can talk about. Also planning and organizing. So he said establish and maintain cooperative relationships with representatives. So again, how is he building those relationships? So breaking down, again, back to communication. Under his academic projects, he talks a lot about creating marketing campaigns and researching demographics. So planning and organizing, again, can fall under that. So these are all transferable skills that Joe can then highlight. So here I've now kind of compared the transferable skills from the job description to Joe's transferable skills from his resume. So again, if we look at detailed-oriented, results-focused, multitasking, self-starter. So now we've pulled out all the transferable skills from Joe's resume. So making sure that in his resume, he's highlighting all of these in detail to really target what this employer is looking for and giving examples of how he used these transferable skills, trying to quantify if possible. So that way his resume will be spot on with what the employer is looking for. He also is going to use this opportunity to talk about in his cover letter, what transferable skills can he bring up, maybe that was a unique experience, or how is he going to be a value add to the organization? And again, he's aligning what he's talking about in his resume and in his cover letter to the direct skills that the employer is addressing in their job description. So it all ties together. I do also suggest having one master copy of your resume that lists any transferable skills that you can think of that you really just want to make sure that you highlight all this information. And then again, just tailoring your resume very slightly to highlight only those relevant transferable skills. That way it's not too much content. So great job. So next, his resume is set. We discussed a little bit about his cover letter. Now it's going to go on to how is he going to use these transferable skills to answer questions and to develop his pitch. So if you're answering the question, what can you bring to my organization? What is Joe going to bring up to say, these are my transferable skills that I can bring to this assistant manager role? So again, start thinking about some of the transferable skills that we talked about: project management, analytical, communication, management, social media. So here's a question. I'd like everyone to answer A, B, or C in the chat box. What soft skills do you think Joe should highlight in his personal pitch? So the first option is excellent writer and team player with a background in communications and marketing. The next option is vibrant public speaker with sharp verbal skills and an outstanding vocabulary. And the last option is creative and detail-oriented marketing professional with excellent communication and analytical skills. So if everyone can just write in the chat box what we think the answer, and again, this is not his whole pitch, but this is just what his pitch should include. Perfect, so everyone knows it, point blank out C. So we really want to, again, just highlight in the job description, if we look back, it talked about they wanted someone who is creative. They wanted someone who is detail-oriented and results-focused. It was a marketing position. Talked a lot about social media and analytical skills. So he highlighted everything that they were talking about in their job description, not only in his resume, not only in his cover letter, but it's also going to be in his pitch, and it's also going to be how he's going to shape his questions and his answers in his interview. So this is just giving you a little idea of Joe's pitch and how we get started. Okay, so setting goals. So the next thing, we've talked about how you look at a job description, how you highlight what transferable skills are there, how we make sure that we address them in our resumes, our cover letters, our pitch, during our interview. So now you need to set some goals to say, this is what my past experience is and this is where I want to be. So I need to now identify what skills I have and what skills I need. And to do that, some suggestions we put are to look at job descriptions. So just as the one I listed right there, if you're looking for an assistant manager role in marketing, you're going to want to see what skills are they looking for. And you can just go on, and you can go on CareerNet, you can go on Indeed, you can go on any of these websites, and they're all going to have similar skills that they're looking for, right? So we just want to make sure we're highlighting those skills. You can also look at LinkedIn profiles. So if you're really interested in working for Estee Lauder in their marketing department, you can look and see, maybe there's NYU alum that work at Estee Lauder in the marketing department, and see what skills they're highlighting in their LinkedIn profile. Maybe those are skills that you have, maybe some of them are skills that you don't have, and then that gives you the opportunity to develop these skills. Other resources are, again, company websites or asking for informational interviews. So you can ask an NYU alum for informational interviews just based on, you may have graduated from the same program that I'm currently in, or my friend Lisa had said that you worked for Estee Lauder and I'd really like to get some insight into what skills they're looking for in this industry and start developing those transferable skills. So how to develop those transferable skills. So take on a specific project in class, join a club, get involved. So find opportunities. So now if you've identified you have a skill gap, then think of how you can fill that skill gap to meet the employer need, right? So it's all about making sure that we're meeting the needs of the employer, what they're looking for an employee. So whether it's, again, taking a project, volunteering, writing a paper, writing a blog, however you need to develop those skills, you really need to think about now what you need to do so that when you graduate, or I don't know if you've already graduated, what you could be doing to help you get to the next step. So next steps, I definitely suggest scheduling a career coaching appointment with someone at the Wasserman Center. We can discuss how to go over your resume, make sure that we're highlighting those relevant transferable skills. Make sure that we're really talking about what your value add is and quantifying those transferable skills when possible in your cover letter. And then we can also work on your interview with you. If you want to, you have a job that you're looking to apply for, or you're interested in this specific area, we can do a mock interview and practice on what techniques or what things we think you should highlight in the interview. For any of the veterans, I suggest visiting the Veteran Resource Center. The Veteran Resource Center serves as an advocate and liaison for NYU SPS veterans. And the information I have it located on the next slide, but it's a great resource. And then some next webinars. So our next webinar for veterans is our veteran resumes, I apologize. And so you can register on NYU CareerNet. And the next one is July 14th from 12 to 1. So I have the information listed. So is there any questions about transferable skills? I haven't gotten one yet. So does anyone have any questions on a career path that they're looking to get into and they're curious as to what transferable skills employers are looking for or how to highlight something in your past experience? You can just write it in the chat box. I'm more than happy to discuss that. We still have plenty of time. Okay, well, if nobody has any questions, thank you for joining me today, and I look forward to your participation in our upcoming webinars. And again, I'm going to stay online for a few minutes and I'll wait to see if there's any more questions. Thank you, Peter, as well. Have a great day.